Okay, so he's pissed because someone put their hands on her, and she basically says, "My mother sent me away. It's beautiful. Thank you." Because my father tried to beat the gay out of me. Baby, I love your drawings. Go close the bedroom door and go do that, okay?
I want to hand it to you like a big girl.
You are a big girl. Okay. My heart clenched. Sure, I didn't know maybe it was supposed to turmoil I was working through regarding having lost my only child, but regardless of the reasoning, I was infuriated enough for chaos to cross the threshold of the realms. Every light on the street blew at once, and the cool breeze wafting in from Lake Pontchartrain halted. And her thought process, holy hell, I didn't know vampires could do wild shit like that. Unless it's just a coincidence. I had to take a careful breath and remind myself that she wasn't my responsibility and definitely not reason enough to out myself, although I could pull some strings and make it so. Okay, so two things. One, I left a note here. It says reference to the Kavada Sakari. Solomon has command of the undead in regards to maintaining peace between the factions, and he does. Solomon can call upon the forces of the undead, but at the cost of his sanity. And that's like the give and take thing there. As far as the chaos thing goes, because Solomon is an incarnation of the very first ever created vampire, he enough emotion, like enough emotional turmoil or whatever, and chaos leaking. Chaos is basically like, so in the void, you've got two, right? Kind of. It's kind of like a purgatory thing. You got the void. You got the seventh realm. There's 3 realms on each side of it. Chaos is like the power that exists naturally within the realm of the void. The 6 realms were created equally. The void is considered the 4th realm because it goes from light to dark. And that's like the grayscale of it. You've got 1, 2, 3, and then you've got the 7th realm, and you've got 4, 5, 6. And, the higher the number, kind of like the more dangerous. You don't really want to be there kind of thing. Because, like, in the void and in other realms is where the gods live. The gods dwell.
It's a heart and a stamp.
I love it. Please don't tear up my clock. It's beautiful.
But I like it.
I love it.
But I want to tear it.
Don't tear my clock up. That was my Nana's. Please don't tear it up.
Whoa. Like, whoa.
I had to take a careful breath and remind myself that she was not my responsibility and definitely not reason enough to out myself. She says, Aiden, I'll be fine. I'm used to it by now. He'll be over it by the time I get home. Please don't tell anyone. No one can know. Who's going to tell? Aurora says, pulling her sleeves further down. She thinks to herself, I wish I could make it stop. Okay, please, thank you. Don't color on this. This is special. Okay?
I want to get you happy. Can I have it?
Just don't break it, please. Take it in there.
Go to
Close the bedroom door. Okay, so she thinks to herself, I wish I could make it stop too. And he announces, it's illegal in every capacity to assault a princess, regardless of who they may be. You're also a minor, and it's also morally fucking corrupt. I would never put my hands on my child. The aggression displayed under the guise that he is homophobic is not only fucking ignorant, but insulting to nature as a whole. If he ever crosses my path, you can find his photo on the nearest missing pet board. I wrote that. The light above us popped with that wave of rage, sending bits of glass across the concrete of the walkway. But yeah, as far as the void goes, when you die, you cross into the void. It's like purgatory. But you have some, if you decide to move on, the gate that you pass through takes you to the third realm, which is just the afterlife, just the basic afterlife. The void is where you don't want to get stuck. If Elizabeth weren't with me, I'd eradicate the issue myself. She ducked and walked out into the street. I decided to continue behind her as she aimlessly stumbled through the streets. The thought occurred to me that I could use the void to go do the thing and then return. However, I needed to maintain my sanity given my engagement in Ariel's pregnancy. The last months should be riddled with psychological torment. She thinks to herself, finally, someone sees me. Someone reasonable. She stopped at the edge of the sidewalk in front of a venue named the Sugar Mill, and while facing away from me, tried her damnedest to be nonchalant. You need not get yourself so worked up. I am no princess, and I'm not worth all this fuss. I'll be fine, like I must always be. Mother and father say it's for the best, so I just smile and bear it. That's why I have the boyfriend back home. He was an arranged type thing. No choice of mine, but I have a duty to uphold. Just ask my parents. A chill raced through my bones at her words, and I promptly stepped in front of her on the road while she stood on the curb to place myself in her line of sight. She was still significantly shorter than me, regardless of the fact that she was on a ledge. I leaned down just slightly to be at her eye level. The crown prince of the vampire faction wouldn't give up his peace and happiness to uphold his birthright duty of being emperor, and he would be livid to know that such a darling creature were treated so horridly. Because he doesn't introduce himself as who he is. Because, how did Logic put it? Okay, bitch, I get it. We get it already. I'm famous. Let it go. I'm still a person. It's a very similar attitude. She thinks to herself, as if someone so powerful would give a damn about someone like me. With her thoughts, she glanced away, her pulse becoming erratic as vague memories of learning about me in her classes as a child came to mind. I pulled her face back by her jaw and locked eyes. Don't you ever dare justify abuse, especially upon yourself. She thinks to herself, I just have to weather it. So close. It's been 15 years of hell. I can cope with a few more months. You know nothing of my life, Aiden. I have no siblings worthy to replace me. They don't hold my power. My father despises me, but sees me as a prize mare to breed with any eligible male in a 200-mile area. She snapped. The more she spoke, the more frustrated I became. She was absolutely conditioned in her responses, and from a parental standpoint, I was beyond ready to murder the piece of shit who wore the alpha title. You only get one life. A lifespan I have lived more than 24 times. Protect it and treasure it. Fuck your duty. Your only duty in this life is to honor yourself and those loyal to you. Well, the last time I fought back, I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. He almost killed me. It's easier to just take the punishment now. I'm braver than you could ever know. Please don't tear that up. Bring it to me. Bring it to me. Bring it to me. Bring it to me. And quit digging and stuff. Let it go. Let it go. Because you're not listening. It's not a toy. I don't care. Go play with your toys. You have 1 billion toys. Blase. She thinks, don't show fear, don't cry. And he tells her, the strength it takes for you to maintain any sort of positivity in the face of a literal waking nightmare can only be considered a beautiful tragedy. You're stronger than I am. I'd have slit his fucking throat by now, but violence isn't the answer. And he thinks, it's the question. Yes is the answer. And she thinks, I wish it could be the answer. She says, thank you for listening to me complain about my life, Aiden. I'm sure you need to be getting back to your fiancé. I appreciate it, truly. She hugs me quickly. And she thinks, shit, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I pulled her back. Yes, you should have. Don't ever apologize or second guess yourself. Be confident and courageous. You will be respected for it amongst all leaders who have worth. Not just in regard to your generation, but even in the company of other factions and veterans. And she starts to think, can he hear my thoughts? And he says, yes. I press my forehead to hers and close my eyes. I can hear your thoughts and I can feel your heartache. Tears slipped out of her eyes as she hugged me tightly once more and stepped slightly away. And she thinks, I'm not ready to go. But if I don't, he interrupts her thoughts and says, go and know that I see you. Okay, she says, good night, blah, blah, blah. And he says, be the adult you needed when you were a child and be sure that the child within you is the first that you guide and heal. You're astounding, and even Solomon himself would admire your tenacity. for you are in every sense indomitable. She asks herself, I wonder if they know each other. I wonder if what he says is true. Could an emperor really care for the life of someone as insignificant as me? And then he thinks, without giving her the thought, he responds to himself, how could I not? Like, that is my job. That is what I'm here for. That is the significance of me being the leader of these fucking factions.
Mom, he tricked me.
Just go chill, please. You know, that's the whole point. Like, of being the emperor of the most powerful faction in all of creation. That is the significance of it. Like, he has to be that way. It's for the good of the world. And this is when it's first used. If you ever find yourself with a bleeding heart, know that I am not so far away. When he departs her in her second book, he leaves that on a sticky note, puts it on her computer monitor. Skylar, get in here! Oh my god. Is it really 11:30? My neck hurts.